Hi everyone, it is the 5th of July of 2024. I had to think about the year then for a second. Going to do back to some more work on my graphical diary, and I'm sort of doing some research, as it were, in quotes, research as to different school events, different things relating to school. Now, I'm going to have going to move this Heinemann Maths workbook thing over there because it's sort of unrelated to. It's not directly related to the early, like the classes or anything. It's just something throughout the primary school. So that could go in its own sort of primary school vague category. But I figured I would just continue for now to just work on through some school memories. I think what I might do, I might work on school memories. Might work through primary school, try and get a bunch of primary school stuff down, and then maybe go and figure out some more. Does it release days of PS2 games? See if I can narrow some of those down a bit more. But I can go back to those eventually, that's fine. But I'm just trying to get, like, school things together. And, by the way, I've said in the past, and I'm just trying to make it clear here now, this is not the graphical diary itself. This is just a research sheet that I'm using to sort of gather and put things together so I've got easy access to them. And I am... my actual graphical diary I am not showing because it's a private thing, but the things that I'm willing to talk about, I will do the research here in video format. Anyway, I did have, as I was out, I opened up my Google Keep and I made a note for myself just to, as I was out and about, just if something came to mind, it's like, oh yeah, I can just put that in. So here, add a few things in here. Right, some more memories captured from year 1/2. Now, the first one I know was in year 1. The second ones, I don't know what year they were in, but I noticed I haven't actually put any of the names of any people who were in my class, and I'm obviously not going to put their full names here, but I could maybe make a note of their first names and maybe a second initial. But yeah, so 2 more memories here that are to do with year 1 and 2. So there's the blindfold test to guess who people are, and I cheated. So basically what happened was, there was one time, and I know it was in year 1 because I know it was the mixed with year rather than the year 2, which was not mixed in my year. But there was one time we had a blindfold, and we had to, like, I don't know what it was about, I don't know why we did it, but we had one person come up, they had to put a blindfold on, and I had to, like, reach out and, like, feel the other people, like, in the class, and, like, say, ooh, can you guess who this is? Which seems really weird to say now. But, yes, that is what we did. I was like, oh, can you guess, who this is? And the strange thing was that there was a rule that was like, oh, you can't peek, that's cheating. But what they failed to recognise was that the blindfold itself had, like, a gap underneath. And I was able to see the person. But I sort of... The thing is I tried to... My thing wasn't like, oh, I'm so smart, I know who this is. I thought, can I keep up with that? Can I pretend that I don't know? So I was like reaching out, and I was like, oh, oh, is this Michael? Oh, like knowing it wasn't. But yeah, so let's put I'll just title it blindfold test, and this is how would you put it? So to wear blindfold and guess classmates by feeling them. That's yeah, that does sound very strange, doesn't it? I could see below the no. Below the blindfold but pretended I couldn't. Let's move all these down a little bit. Oh, scrolled a bit too much there. Now, did I? Yeah, okay, I didn't do that right. Okay, let's. Let's add on this to work on. I mean, I know I'm doing this now, but I'm just gonna. I'll just put in brackets general. Okay. Back to school. Right. That was the blindfold test. The second one, trapped self in wall of bricks. There was one, because there was like a brick area to the right. I just put trapped behind bricks. So this was a time when what we did was we had like an area like to the right of the classroom. Like you walk through the entrance and to the right there's like a little area where you can play with like building blocks and stuff. And my thing was I decided to build a wall, but build myself behind the wall, so I was trapped. I just built a pile of bricks really high. So I'm gonna say was an area for building blocks to the right of the classroom entrance, and decided to build a huge wall and trap myself inside it. Trap myself behind it, rather. So I was behind. So the side that I was at the side closest to the door. So I'll say like open brackets on side next to entrance. And I suppose I could like draw out these I was going to say levels then. I could draw up these classrooms, couldn't I? That's an idea. I could do that at some point. I'm not gonna do that now, but that's an idea. Right. Trap behind bricks. So the other one was class hid. So there was one time, and I think it was a couple of times, I don't know, I wasn't really too bothered by it, but the other kids seemed to find it fun, where it was like, oh, let's hide from the teacher, and then we'd like hide under tables and behind chairs and stuff, and then the teacher would come in and she'd go, where's class 2? Like acting all surprised, then we jump out, it's like, oh wow, I didn't know you were there. And it was really funny. I mean, I thought it was a bit funny. I didn't think it was very funny, and I found things very funny when I was very young, but I didn't find that too funny. So I'll just put class hid from teacher. So before Mrs. Lazenby, as she was called, it was Mrs. Lazenby, and before that was Miss Landon, I think. Let's hold on. 1 second. Surname Landon. Yeah, okay. But I think she got married like whilst we were in the class. So I think she was Miss Landon at first, like during the classroom, and then she got married like shortly afterwards, I think. No, I just put Mrs. Lazenby, that's what I know her as. But now she was Miss Landon. Before Mrs. Lazenby came into the room. Class hid behind chairs and tables, and Miss Lazenby said, "Where's class 2?" We all jumped out and, in quotes, surprised her. Okay, so there's 2 more memories. See, look at all these. So look at all these memories I've got just for that. Yeah, I haven't actually done. What I have done is I've saved a few images, not many. So, and I could do more of this. For example, 1 second. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. I dragged the image over thinking it would insert itself, but no. Hold on. For example, I have done I've done the cover of Mr. Claps. I've made my own cover of Mr. Claps, and I've done the classroom timetable where it was like this is where you start, or something like that, depending on what group you are. Something like that, I think. I don't know exactly. And I've also done these are the lyrics of the song we did for the Christmas performance, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what was what was year 1 and year 2. It seems to blend it together a bit, but I can't really remember much more. I do remember, like, what do I remember about? Do I remember anything that we were told about in the lessons? Not really. Not really. I don't think we didn't have like any history lessons at that point. I think that started maybe the year after. I know about year 4 we definitely did, but I think maybe the year after was when we started learning about historical events, which I will get to. So I'll just put a bunch of stars there. But let's go to year 3 now. Okay, I made plenty of space here. So, Year three was a big. It was a big deal because um, year three was the jump from the infants to the juniors, and so the juniors, which was like the older set of kids, had their own different like half of the school. So you had the main school hall in the middle. Like if you imagine it like alongside, if you're looking at the school from the side of the road that it's on, the like the playground stuff is on the far left. You've got the playground on the left, and on the right you've got the school, and in the middle is the main hall. We have all the assemblies and all that, and then from the hall you've got the left side, which was where all the infants were, and on the right side, you the right side was where all the juniors were, and so that was it was like you were on like a new category now, and what I remember, one big thing about this was that your lunchtime was shorter, so infants had an hour and a half for lunchtime, and the juniors had just an hour. So it was an interesting time really, because what would happen was lunchtime would be divided, and I mean I suppose I mean this is just like another general thing that isn't really like tied to a particular year, but the juniors. What happened is, so lunchtime would start at 12 o'clock, I believe, and then like a class would start and they'd go into the dinner hall, or like the main hall, to get their dinner. And throughout, like everyone else would be out in the playground, and throughout the whole lunchtime, um, the whole lunchtime time, the whole lunchtime, you'd have the dinner ladies out in the playground, and they'd blow their whistle, and they'd hold up a sign with a number on, so it might say like 3, and I'd say like class 3, you're allowed to go in to get your lunch now, and then everyone in class 3 would line up, and then they'd walk into the lunch hall from their direction, and then they get their lunch, and then so it's sort of like a way of cycling around the different classes. Irrelevant to what I'm doing on now. I'm just talking about this because this is from going into the juniors. But the first thing to mention here is that what I do remember about going into the juniors was that there was like an introduction day. So I'm going to put introduction or induction day. I'll put induction day. So this is before year 3 started. Went into class 3 to be told what being in the juniors was like. So he laid down some morals like, oh, you're older kids now, you've got to be more sensible, which is always the case, like every time, no matter what year you're in. And I remember it was the play day, because we had play days at the end of the year, and so there were still like toys out on the tables, and as I was sat there, I just remember one of the toys that was laid out there was a screwball scramble with the maze bit. The maze bit had the top half snapped off, and I thought, oh wow, that's a much better version of screwball scramble because you can see where the ball is. It won't get lost. So put on table was a screwball scramble with, if I can spell screwball correctly, and I do capitalise as well. Screwball scramble with the top half of the maze removed, and that would be my friend Matthew's class because he was in the year above. Right, just gonna have a drink. The juniors was also the side where the library was, so on a very rare opportunity, we would get the chance to go into the library and play on the computers. I say play, work, but you know, it always ends up being a mix of work and play. And there's some things. There are certain things in school that I cannot tell you what year it happened. So one time we played the Logical Adventure Zoom Bees, or whatever it was called, but I couldn't tell you what year that was. I feel like it might have been 3, or it might have been 5 or 6. I don't think it was 4, but I mean it could have been, but I don't know. But yeah, oh, so this was not mixed. So I was back with just with my full year here. Right, the juniors was like on table is a screwball scramble with the top half of the maze removed. Now, what can I remember about learning? Oh, before I go any further, I need to add Kipper books because this is an ongoing thing where it was an ongoing thing where you we had these books that were like for kids for learning, and there was a character called Kipper. So I'm going to just search Kipper books here. Oh. That's not what I remember. Okay, well, maybe, hold on. Right, let's move this around. So, some image search here. So, according to some of this dog is Kipper. But I don't remember that. I remember this character here. I am Kipper, this kid here. Right? And so we had with the magic key, like these characters, I just knew them as Kipper books. Right? And these are the things we have to learn. The funny thing is that in my memory, when I think of like Kipper the character, I always associate him with like Hey Arnold. We just kind of have that same sort of view. I mean, hold on. Like, look at this image here, for example. Here, Biff, Chip and Kipper books. 30 years of teaching children to read. So, whatever. Right. See, the children were playing on the computer. They were playing Chip's new game, Secret of the Sands. And these are the characters. They help millions of children to read. Primary schools brim with them, and parents either love them or hate them. They are Biff, Chip, Kipper, and Floppy. Ooh, Floppy will be the dog then, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't think it'll be this guy called Floppy. Oh, hold on. Is this a video?
The magic of the magic key.
Well, oh, hold on.
Humour and good fun and through story.
It was just talking about
their head, you know, that kind of illustration. And were absolutely horrible. I mean, there was no humour at all. It was tedious.
Are they talking about the books here?
Update the ideas, keeping it relevant to the modern child. So we have smartphones, we have modern, digital. The digital word's very important. So we have.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so. Them just I don't know. They're talking about the success of the characters or whatever. Anyway, but it did not fit to the zippers at the back. I cannot get the zip up. Ha ha ha. The adventures range from the magical to mundane, but often with a sense of humour. Anyway, so yeah, those were the Kipper books, but they're called Biff, Chip, and Kipper books. That's what it says there. I'm just gonna go back. And we used to have they used to have like stickers on the they used to put stickers on the corners to say like, oh well, depending on your reading level. So it's like if you've got a red one, I think the red one was really good or something, like really high. Anyway, I don't really know how I can expand on that right now, but that was just. Hold on. Guide to Biff, Chip and Kipper. So I guess the thing is, Biff, Chip and Kipper. I just thought of them as. Hold on, this site is formatted horribly. Right, okay, well I guess okay, let's change that name to Biff, Chip and Kipper. I've always just called them Kipper books. Okay, well that was just a random side note there. Yeah, so before year 3 started, went into class to be told what the juniors was like. On table was Screwball Scramble, with the top half of the maze removed. Now, what can I remember about this class in particular? Let's try and divide it up. So let's just mark down a few things that I can remember, and maybe more will come to me. But I remember the classroom itself very well. I remember what was it? So I'll start with not like a big thing, but one thing I remember was 3D shapes. We were learning about 3D shapes, and just a case of what they were. This is a sphere. This is a cone. This is a cylinder. And I have one specific memory. I was sat on the floor and I was daydreaming, looking out the window as I had a tendency to do. And the teacher, Mrs. Hall, was talking about 3D shapes. And then I just hear, and then she just goes, Devon, and I'm like shocked, like what? And she goes, how many? Oh my god, another memory's just come back. Hold on, I'll write it down here. Okay, I will explain in a moment. But anyway, so yeah, so she had a sphere, and I was looking out the window or something, and she went, Devon, like I wasn't paying attention. It was like, how many corners does a sphere have? And I went, none. And then all the kids laughed like, ha ha, you clearly weren't listening, there's 4. And that's the memory that sticks with me, because obviously that was wrong. But that's definitely a memory that sticks with me. I was thinking, like, what you're talking about, there's no corners on a sphere, because I knew maths, right? That was my speciality. I knew numbers and all that. So it was like, no, there's no corners. And she said 4. And it was because I don't know. She's like, it was the way she was holding it, saying like 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. So on floor was looking out of the window when teacher shouted my name to ask how many corners a sphere had, because I, in quotes, wasn't paying attention. Probably just not stimulated. So let's see what happened there. It's my guess. I was just like, oh yeah, I know 4 corners on this thing and 5 corners on that thing. And I said none, and I just put Mrs. Hall said no, there's 4. You need to listen. And the class laughed. I think they did. Maybe. Let's put that bit in brackets. Anyway, if you're wondering what Bunny Whoops was, there was a time when I don't know what was this. This was this was like how do I describe? I don't know what the purpose of it was. Sort of like how you describe, not like a problem solving thing, more like an observational. It's like testing your observational skills. And she said, I'm going to do a thing, and you have to copy me. I'm going to ask you to copy me, and if you manage to copy me, then you will be able to come to the front and we can do it together, and we can show all the people. We can ask them to do it to see if they can figure it out what the thing is. So it was called Bunny Whoops, and I better load up Paint to show you. 1 second. Okay, let's make this a bit bigger. So what this was, she held out her hand, so I'll try and draw. Actually, you know what? I won't do that. Instead, what I'll do is I'll search for an image. Back of hand. Right. See if this. Okay. So what she'd do is she'd use another. Hold on. Is there a way to do this? This is so silly. But yeah, perhaps Paint isn't the best place to do this. But anyway, what she would do is she'd get, that would be her right hand, I believe. I mean, that picture's of her left. Like, that picture's of her left hand. So let's can I flip the image? Well, imagine the images are the other way around. I'm going to have to sort it out my own time. But imagine that was your right hand. So she'd hold her hand out with like the back facing you, and then she'd get with her other hand, although you can't see it because the white overlaps, but she'd put she'd like point, put the finger of her left hand. Or it might be in the left hand. I think it was the left hand. Oh, whatever, right? I think it was the left hand. So, and she'd get her other hand, and then she'd put a finger on top of the little finger, and she'd go, bunny whoops, bunny whoops, bunny whoops, bunny whoops, bunny, right? And you had to figure out what was it that she did. And then she'd say like, right, you can give it a go, and then you tried it, and then every now and then it's like, oh, you got it, and then they'd come up to the front, and they do it themselves, and sometimes they didn't know what it was that they did right, and so they ask people one by one, like, oh, what's the thing? Anyway, loads of people got it. I didn't get it, but I was like, okay, is it the speed that they do it? Is it is it how long they say knee, like at the end of bunny? Like I was thinking, what is this thing? I couldn't wrap my head around it. Anyway, I later found out that on there was a later date when we went to, there was an old folks home, like a retirement home that was just next to the school. We went there to see the elderly, and one of the kids, I was like, "What's Bunny Whoops? How does it work?" And I think this was like a while afterwards, and she said, "Oh, well, when you do, you have to cross your arms," and that was it. It was so, it was so silly. It was just, it was just this thing of, I was like paying close attention, like, or is it the tilt of the fingers? Like how are they getting it so accurate? There must be some like minor things. Like, oh no, you cross your arms at the end. It's like, well, that's not part of the thing. It's like, oh, it is. You got to be observant. I was like, well, I am being observant. I'm trying to figure out exactly. I'm trying to like time the moments of bunny whoops, and it didn't work. So that's that was a bunny whoops. Anyway, let's come back to here and try to describe bunny whoops. So this is silly, right? So held out back of, because the thing is as well is that sometimes people get it wrong. Like they'd start with the finger touching the thumb. They'd have the hand facing the wrong way. They'd use the wrong hand, like things like that. I'm thinking, like, I'm sure I've got the right hand and everything. But then they got to the point where there's like 10 of them at the front, and they were all doing it, and I went bunny, and then they all crossed their arms at the end, and it was like I never noticed. I was like, what? How? Like, oh, how are they all pointing to the second bunny for like the same amount of time? Like maybe there's like 1 second on this finger and 1 second on that finger. A half second on this other finger. It's just, I just didn't, my brain just couldn't pick up on what it was. And sometimes there was moments where what would happen was I'd try it and I'm thinking like I've got this down, and I'd do it, and at the very end it would be like the other people would say like, oh, I'm sure she was going to get it that time, and I'm thinking, what was it? But yeah, okay. Let's just write it out. Right, held out back of hand and pointed to little finger. Then moved it between fingers, saying bunny whoops. As the finger saying bunny, as finger went up, and whoops as finger went down. One second, I'm just going to make a note here, because I'm going to come back to that, because I just remember something. Right, BBC Computer Year 1. I think it was the BBC Computer, I think. But once I finish this Bunny Up story, I'm going to go back there, because like I said, sometimes memories will just like come back to you. Right. As you can see, I've even done the 2 dashes to say to comment. Right. We had to try to copy her and get it correct. The answer was cross your arms at the end. I never got it. Anyway, the reason okay, so basically, I don't know. Oh yeah, I do know why. I'll just put a note here. spell. Right, okay, so I can come back to that in a moment. Right, so year one, there was a computer. So year one. This was reception. No, it was reception. Class one. Right. So let's move down a bit. So class one. This was the one where we had to write out. 1 second. Where you may remember, we had like these books. I went to the shops and like things like that, and let's correct a typo here. House. So yeah, so this was the year with the apple and the chocolate, the year with the witch's house, the year where I was in the smart group, I was in the red group. And there was a, let's search BBC Computer. Yeah, so we had BBC Micro. Is that what it was called? I don't know. But basically, we had, I'm just going to copy the image here. In class one, I remember we had a computer, and I was like really into computers. I got my Amiga Christmas of 1993. So it was around the same time, but they had like this computer in year one, like I've just remembered. And they had some games. They also had like the big floppy disks as well. I mean, even for the time, it was quite primitive. I mean, it wasn't too primitive. Was it an Acorn computer? I remember Acorn. I don't remember Acorn. We had those in secondary school. Like Prime Solver and all that. But I'm gonna do a search for BBC games, because there were games on it. But there was the only. I mean, even these ones that I'm looking at here look more advanced. Even like, hold on. So, for example, this is an image I found looking for a game, but this is, I think this was like too advanced from what I remember. I'm going to search lollipops because I remember there was one. There was one game where it looked like a series of lollipops. I didn't understand what it was. It might have even been a game. It might have been like a learning thing, but I didn't understand it. Hold on. I'll just search out BBC Micro. Complete BBC Micro Games Archive. Ah, okay. So I'm currently looking at this page here, but I'm going to move it off screen to my big screen so I can see more at once. See if there's anything that comes up. So that I can recognise it all, because I really only do remember one. I do just remember the like the thing with the lollipops. I mean, like I say, it might not have even been a game. Outbreak. Oh man, there was an outbreak, like not a festival. I don't know. What do you call them? Like an indoor, like a money raising event, I guess, that we did. Don't know what year that was though. No, I'm not seeing anything of the sort here. but I will. Okay. Let's put in microcomputer. One game. I put in quotes because it might not be a game. One game had coloured lollipops. I'll put had what looked like coloured lollipops. I put in brackets. Don't remember how it worked or anything. I don't know. Right. I mean, I suppose that's actually part of the whole game thing, isn't it? Either way, I'm gonna put myself a note in the notes. I'm gonna put like a note down here to say, hold on. No, I'll put them. Right. So this is like, let's put general stuff. The event references, and so vague event references. I've got one which was Arkanoid in, hold on, money raising event. Arkanoid game. Okay. I wonder if that was the one with the Guess the Santa. I'll put it up here. Guess where Santa is. It might be the same one. That was, I won that. I won a singing dancing Santa that my mum was not happy about, but I won it because I paid £1 and I chose the two spots on the map which were the optimal spaces because they were equidistant from each other and all of the walls, and I won. Anyway, back to year 3. So spell. There was a time when we were on the on computer. It might have been the BBC Micro. I don't know. I think it might have been on computer. Put in brackets. BBC Micro. We're given words to spell by showing us the word, then it disappearing, and then you have to write it down. I'm not supposed to disappear, have I? I spelled it with 2 S's. Oh, disappearing. So the funny thing is it would say something like spell handle, right? So and then it would say, so it would say like spell, like in little text, it would say handle in big text or whatever, and then the word handle would disappear, and then at the top it would say like, can you spell it? And there was one time where it said spell, and the word you had to spell was spell, and I thought, and these me being clever, thinking, I don't have to memorize that because on the next screen it will say it on the screen. So I saw the word spell and I was thinking like, I'm not even going to pay attention. And then it got rolled around to the next screen and it said, can you spell it? And I'm like, yes I can, because I can copy that word on the screen. So there's me being clever by twisting the rules. I think I mentioned this to a teacher or something, and they were like, oh no, You shouldn't do that. I was just about disappear. Talk about ironic. Here's me trying to. I'm actually spelling words correctly. So, one time asked to spell. I intentionally didn't learn it because I knew spell would be written on the next screen asking if I could spell it. What a weird memory. What a fun time. Another particular specific memory I remember is there was one time when we were making some paint, again like artsy crafty stuff, and I made a very, very nice green. I remember some people commenting saying that my green was very nice. I felt very proud of my green. So I'm just going to call this green paint. And one time mixed some green paint that was very nice, and people said it looked very nice. I believe it was like a lime green. I'm going to just do a search here. Yeah, so it was like, it was sort of like that. Putting brackets there. So that's green paint. Oh, I remember something else now. I remember something else. Okay, so I'm thinking about a few more things have come to me now as I'm thinking about it. But let's move these down because they're like rather specific ones. But I'm going to do tests and tasks times tables. Books. There was one book I remember, which was a Roald Dahl book. The Twits, that's it. I was looking for it. What a name for a book. Yeah, so I'm not sure the actual oh, hold on. I'm gonna write this out. The Twits. And again, you remember last time I was saying that I remembered there was some images that I found and I put them somewhere and I couldn't find where I'd put them and I was annoyed. Well, I've got to find Metal Miss. So there was the Twits. Because this is when Roald Dahl became like a thing. So all I remember was the Twits by Roald Dahl, illustrated by Quentin Blake, of course. All I remember about the Twits was that they lived in a house with no windows, and it was sort of like, oh, they're bad people, you don't want to mess with them. Something like that. I'm going to do a search. Yeah, so that's what I found. So that's the house with no windows, That's not the... But I found another image. Uh, I don't know if either of these are Quentin Blake, but that looks more like what I remember. It might have been that one. The house with no um, with no windows. Oh no, I'm gonna write Roald. Have I spelled that right? How would you spell Roald Dahl? Has it got a H in it? No, it doesn't. Roald Dahl. And there's another book that we read that I remember called Metal Miss. And it's kind of annoying because it's quite hard to find. I did find it before, but I can't find the folder I put it in, which is annoying. I searched for Miss Metal, but I'm sure it is Metal Miss. Yeah, there is something called Miss Metal. What looks like a kid's book called Miss Metal, but that's not the one that that we had. I'm going to have to see if I can find that. I mean, just because I wouldn't have deleted it. If I just do a search for Metal Miss without the quotes or the word book. Yeah, nothing there. It's all musicians and pipes, which makes sense. Metal Miss book without the quotes. No, this is really annoying. I don't know where the files could be. One second, I'm going to have another look because I'm going to try and see if I can find it a bit deeper. 1 second. Okay, can't find it in the folders, but it does turn out that I could actually find the image much easier if I just search for it, not in images, just in all, and then it gives me the author name, and then I find the author name, and there it is. Anyway. 1 second. Right. So, Metal Miss Linda Pitt. This book here. So, all I remember about it was that there's one. They get a robot teacher and they took up with a name for it, and then there's one person that put like the names in a hat or whatever, and one person they put a name out and they're like, "Oh, we can't call them that name, it's rude" or whatever, and they don't tell you what the name is. That's what I remember about that. But oh, I'm just curious here. No. No, I was just looking because it looked like it had some um, like some like school questions, but it's hidden behind a paywall, I think. Metal Mist by Linda Pitt, Comprehension Key Stage 2. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a search for that author. Because I recognise that name. Wizzo, Fitzwizzo and the Good Ghost Guide and Toddlergran, which I don't recognise. Hold on. Wasn't there... I think there was one we did where it was about opposite day, where it was like all the teachers become kids and the kids become teachers, and it's like all wacky adventures. But I don't know. Whatever. That's fine. I'm going to make a note. Where am I? Metal Miss. New teacher in school was a robot. Had to pick a name out of a hat. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of silly. Was inappropriate, so changed it. I mean, the thing is, like, the only way for me to really check this is to, like, find a copy of it or buy it, and I'm not really willing to do that because it doesn't really matter, but there you go. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to put unknown title, opposite day, kids and teachers swapped places. Okay. So I'm going to move those down. Right, I'm going times table. Hard to learn. Times tables. 1 to 10, and recite them in front of teacher. 1 at a time. For some reason, another memory just coming to me is this is when I think head lice became a big thing. Became a big thing, was like going around, because one time because it was a thing, it started going around a bit, and we called them, hold on, head lice / nits. I'm going to search that up. So, nits. Oh, head lice. I don't know if they're the same thing. Ah, okay. I thought they were just named for the same thing. Oh, was this the time that I got chickenpox, I wonder? I know there's one time I was off for a week in year 6. Advice and knit. You know what I'm going to do? 1 second. I'm looking up. Just going to load up. Just doing a search for my my primary school here, because there was a big, and I'm not going to show it, but I just want to make sure that I can find it, because there's a time in the later, there's a time when I was off for a week and my class made a big like Muriel, I guess. Muriel, let's search Muriel. But it was like of my class, but I had no part. I had played no part in it because I was off for a week. And we had someone come over called Dot to help us make it, but I was absent for the whole thing. And it was like a big feature in the classroom for a while, and it was and they had it featured on their website as well, but that was, they had it on the website for a long time. But it's really not. It's not that guy. It doesn't seem to be there. I mean, had I had the foresight that I would have had, that I've got now, I would have saved an image. I would have saved it, but I searched for 2000. I don't think it was in. It might have been 1999. It might have been 2000. No, I can't find anything of the sort. No, it's not. It's not helping. It's really annoying that. Oh well. Okay. Kind of not too happy about that. Thing is, well, like even like logos and stuff, like the school crest, and all that, it updates over time, so it becomes more monotone, which is how a lot of things are going. Okay, well, it's enough. We're scratching head when doing work with teacher directly and mentioned that I'm scratching my head. Fine. But the other one that I remember here is tests and tasks. So we had tests. So the tests were sort of like just a series. Hold on, series of 10 questions that we got marked on out of 10. Tests were when the teacher would... I would have sometimes say the teacher, sometimes I say the name of the teacher, but whatever. A test were when the teacher would read them out and we had to write the answer. And tasks were the same, except they were written down on paper for us to do individually and were numbered, e.g. task 17. Yeah. I don't actually remember what the Christmas play was in year 3. No memory of that at all. I know it was in year 4. I know it was in year 6. But I have no memory of the even number ones. Oh, hold on, put brackets here for the bunny whoops bit. Found out later when at nearby elderly residents with class when Mel told me. Okay. Well, let's swap these round, get the order going. Can't remember any of the books at this time. No. Can't remember any of the lessons. I don't think so. Hold on. So this is a very one-off thing. I remember one test we had included the question how many Dalmatians are in a film? The answer was 103, because of the parents, or something like that. Let's put some quotes in there. Yeah, that's a random one-off thing. That's basically what this is, isn't it? Just remembering random one-off things. It was quite a bright room as well. It was quite like, not like lots of bright colours. I think it was like kind of like whitish. But some rooms, like I remember class 2 being quite dark, and I'll tell you, I remember class 1 was I think of it as like a light orangey. Class 2 I think it was like a dark orangey. Class 3 I think it was white. 4 was also quite dark. I think of it as quite orangey, but I don't know if it was. I'm just remembering all the orange, and then class 5 was just sort of again just rather simple. But yeah, this is quite a short one. I might end it here today. So next time what I'll do is I'll move on to class 4, and in the meantime, if anything comes up, I'll record it into my Google Keep. I'm just going to work on this for a bit. Just going to work on this for a little bit. And go from there, I suppose. But so next time I'll do class 4, and then I'll go into and then class 5. So it might take a few more to get it all done. But like I say, if anything, oh, hold on, I've messed up a little bit here. Right, U3. Oh, I think this actually one more thing. I think this was the year that we went to the library. Because I believe that this was. I'll end on here, right? But I'll write this down. Okay, so to see an author. So went to local library, and author spoke to us. He said, because he was talking about like his mermaid, like he made a character, like some characters that were mermaids, and he said, his mermaid. Hold on. Mermaid characters needed to eat, so they must have sharp claws to grab fish. I was thinking they don't have to have a fundamental misunderstanding from my part. I thought they don't have to have sharp claws because they because they could just die. Yeah, let's put it in brackets. Missing the point. That's one thing I remember there. Do I remember? I mean, the thing is, some school trips, it's like I don't particularly remember. I do have a few good memories of class 4. That would be nice. But I think, yeah, I'm gonna. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I could just end this here. That's fine. I made a little bit of progress doing some year 3 stuff. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.